The ink on the divorce papers wasn't even dry. 7 days. A week had barely passed since the judge's gavel finalized the legal separation between Sarah and me, ending 12 years of marriage. 12 years, 2 kids, 1 dog, and a house filled with memories, all relegated to the past. And then came the Facebook announcement. The post featured a picture. Sarah, radiant in a white dress that stopped just short of being a full-blown wedding gown, standing next to a man I'd never seen before. His arm was casually draped around her waist, and his smile seemed undeniably genuine. The caption declared her happiness in finding her soulmate, complete with the kind of emojis that used to make me roll my eyes when we were together. My immediate reaction was a physical blow, a punch to the gut of disbelief. That quickly morphed into anger, which then settled into a dull, heavy ache in my chest. 7 days. Was it a cruel joke? Had she been planning this all along? Had our entire marriage been a fabrication, merely a stepping stone toward this new life with a complete stranger? The urge to retaliate was powerful. I considered leaving a scathing comment on the picture, exposing a supposed infidelity or revealing the years of unhappiness she'd apparently kept hidden. I almost called her, wanting to scream and demand answers. But I resisted. Instead, I closed my laptop, poured myself a glass of whiskey, Sarah always preferred scotch, and settled onto the porch swing, watching the sunset bleed orange and purple across the sky. It was the same porch swing where we'd spent so many evenings talking, laughing, and dreaming about a future that, apparently, only she had given up on. The whiskey burned going down, but it offered no numbness. It didn't erase the image of Sarah, beaming beside this unknown man. It didn't alter the reality that our shared life was over. The following days were a blur of routine. I went through the motions, work, kids, dinner, but I felt disconnected, almost like an actor playing a role. The image of Sarah and her soulmate continued to haunt me. I mentally replayed our marriage, searching for clues I'd missed, signs I had been too blind to see. Had I truly been that oblivious? Our marriage wasn't perfect, that was undeniable. We had faced our share of challenges, arguments, and disagreements. The initial spark had faded years ago, slowly replaced by a comfortable routine that resembled a business partnership more than a passionate romance. We functioned well as co-parents and efficient household managers, but we were no longer lovers. We'd become roommates, sharing a life without truly living it together. We had attempted to rekindle the flame, to fix what was broken. Counseling sessions, weekend getaways, even attempts to recreate early dates, none of it worked. The fundamental connection was gone, the fire extinguished. We were simply going through the motions, pretending for the sake of the children and outward appearances. The divorce process had been surprisingly amicable. We both recognized it as the necessary course of action, even though it caused significant pain. We divided our assets fairly, established a custody schedule, and promised to remain civil for the sake of our children. However, her remarriage so soon after the divorce felt like a betrayal, as if she were erasing our shared history, dismissing those years as meaningless. Then, a week after seeing that Facebook post, I unexpectedly encountered them at the grocery store. I was there to pick up milk and bread for the kids when I turned an aisle and saw Sarah and her new husband, David, I later learned, carefully examining a head of lettuce in the produce section. My heart pounded in my chest. I wanted to turn back, to vanish, to avoid an awkward and painful encounter. But it was too late. Sarah had already noticed me. She said my name, Michael, her voice remarkably calm. I managed to reply, Sarah, striving to keep my voice steady. An awkward silence hung in the air. David extended his hand, introducing himself. You must be Michael, he said, his grip firm. Sarah's told me a lot about you. I shook his hand, feeling a strange mixture of curiosity and resentment. He seemed like a decent person, ordinary and pleasant. Not the villain I had imagined. I forced a smile and said, Nice to meet you, David. We engaged in small talk for a few minutes, discussing the kids, the weather, and the exorbitant price of organic lettuce. The entire situation felt surreal. Then, Sarah looked directly at me, our eyes meeting. I saw no guilt, no apology, no hint of triumph in her gaze, only peace. Softly, she said, Michael, I want you to be happy for us. I know this is probably difficult for you, but David makes me incredibly happy. And I deserve to be happy. Looking at her, truly seeing her, I understood. I saw genuine joy in her eyes, a relaxed smile on her face, and a lightness in her step. She was different, almost as if she was thriving. In that instant, something shifted within me. The anger, the resentment, the hurt, they began to dissipate. I realized that I didn't want Sarah to be miserable. I didn't want her trapped in a loveless marriage, pretending to be happy for my sake. I wanted her to find genuine happiness, even if it wasn't with me. And I understood something even more profound. Sarah's happiness didn't diminish my worth or invalidate our past together. It simply meant that we were both moving on, each finding our own path toward fulfillment. Looking at Sarah and David, standing hand in hand, I saw not a betrayal, but a possibility for both of us to find happiness again, in our own ways and in our own time. A genuine smile spread across my face. "Sarah," I said, "I am happy for you. You deserve all the happiness in the world." She returned the smile, a warm, sincere smile I hadn't seen in years. "Thank you, Michael," she replied. We exchanged goodbyes and went our separate ways. As I walked through the parking lot, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in a long time. The pain lingered, of course. The grief of a lost love doesn't vanish overnight. But it felt different now, no longer a burning, all-consuming fire, but a gentle ember, a reminder of what once was. I realized that I, too, deserved to be happy. I deserved to find love again, to create a new life filled with joy, passion, and purpose. Sarah's remarriage wasn't the end of my world. It was the start of a new chapter, one filled with possibility, hope, and the promise of a brighter future. As I drove home, I smiled, not because my ex-wife had remarried, but because I finally understood what it meant to let go, to move forward, and to embrace the unknown with an open heart. Seeing them together wasn't a source of pain, but a catalyst for my healing, my growth, and my journey toward happiness. And in the end, that's all that truly mattered. The smile wasn't just for them, it was a promise to myself to seek out that same joy and contentment.